Good morning, everyone. Let's crochet a hat together. Let's crochet a hat together. Whatever yarns you have around is fine. I am using some 4-weight. They have the little number 4 on the skeins. I have caked these for ease of use. We'll make a hat similar to one of these. I had to put the autofocus on because my camera wouldn't focus without it. So we'll see how we do and just ignore my little goofy drawings. So let's start with the lightest color we have for the top of the hat. All right. And what I do is a magic ring. A lot of people will do like a chain 3 and then crochet into it after you get it together. Hi, Janet. The autofocus is going to drive me crazy. Let me see if I can turn it off. If the picture goes blurry, I'll put it back on. I don't know what's going on with the camera situation. Maybe if I come in a little bit, that might make it easier for you to see. Let's see if that'll hold. All right, I've turned the autofocus on. We've got a clear picture. I'm in a little closer. My goofy doodles are here, but it's okay. So magic ring, everybody struggles with a magic ring, and I just think it's so easy, and it gives you a perfectly closed center, and because you can pull it completely tight, you don't get that hole in the middle that you do sometimes with the chain. So it's completely smooth on the top, okay? So let's do a magic ring. What you do is you grab your thread in your left hand or your right hand, depending on if you're left or right. And I can't help with the left-handers. I'm sorry, I don't have any experience trying to do it that way. But what you do is you just lay it over your fingers like this, okay? Then you're going to spread your index finger and your middle finger. Take the thread over those two. And what you're going to do when you bring it back up over top is make an X. So you should have an X up here. Then you take your hook and you reach under the front stitch. You grab the thread that you just pulled over the top. You pull it through and then give it a twist. So now it's got a twist on it. Now you can pull your fingers out, hold with this finger, and then just do a chain. And now we're going to work 8 half double crochets into this ring. And it looks huge right now, but you pull the tail and it completely closes it up. So I'm going to work 8 half double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and I guess I should explain what a half double crochet is. You yarn over, you go through the hole, the middle of your magic ring, draw up a loop, and then you pull through all 3. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's yarn over, go into the magic loop, draw up a loop, then pull through all 3. That's 7 and 8. All right, then you find the tail on the magic ring right here, and then pull until your ring is closed. And then I bury this in the next few rounds, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So what you have to do is go into the first stitch. So what I do is I count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know the ring I need to go in, or the stitch I need to go in is right there. And I draw up. Well, first I got to get it tight on the hook back here, or you'll have a loose loop. All right, go into the top of the stitch under the 2 stitches at the top, draw up, and then draw through that chain that you did with your last stitch. And then I chain one. And the reason I do the chain one is it denotes the end of the round for me, and it closes up. It closes up the space that you get sometimes. Let me get one that's colored. That black is hard to see. So this is where my join is, and I know where it is. Just it looks just a little different, and I goofed right there, but it's not going to matter. But what the chain does before you start again is it closes up that space, fills it in. All right. So on the next round, we're going to start with working in that same stitch that we're in right now, and you're going to put 2 half double crochets in every single stitch around. Good morning, Angie. So you got to make them fit in 2 in each one. 1 and 2. And you see I'm working with this thread, the leftover thread from the magic ring. I just lay it on top of my stitches and I stitch over it. So when you get done with this round, you should have 16 stitches. Don't remember if I said that out loud or not. I'll look at chat in between rounds. It gets easier once you've worked your tail in, and quite frankly, I can trim some of that away if I want to. I'm putting 2 into each stitch. Once I get around here, I'm going to trim that tail off because it will be well captured underneath. All right. All right. It looks like there's one more stitch here, but that's my chain stitch. And if you want to verify that, good morning, Dar, what you can do is hold your hook and count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So at the beginning, it'll look like there's another stitch here laying flat, but that's not a stitch. That's where you are, that's kind of the fill in. So there's the slip stitch and the chain one from my fill in kind of idea that I do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and drop that tail out of the way, and I'll trim it here in just a sec. So you want to go into the first stitch. So you skip this thing that looks like it's laying flat. You skip the chain that goes up here. And then this is the top of the first stitch of that round. That's where you want to put your hook in and do a slip stitch, which is just pulling a loop through the top of that and through the loop that was on your hook. Then chain one. And then I'm going to trim this so it's not in the way confusing us. And I'm saving all these little yarn clips for a project. I got to take my sweater off. It's getting hot. Hi, Ann. And I can't get the camera to come in any closer, and I might have to stand up. I think I might, because lifting my arms up to this level is not working for me. All right. So here we go. Now the next round, I'm going to go. And Shannon, if you're watching, this is how I do it. You get the same number counts when you do yours. But I do 2 in the first one, and then 1 in the second, 2, 1, 2, 1 around. So we'll do 2 half double crochets. there, and then I'm going to do 1 in the next one, and then 2 in the next one. If I remember right, you should end up with 24 stitches around. So 2, 1, 2, and 1, and 1, 2, 1. And again, this is how I crochet. Some people hold their yarn different than I do. Some wrap it around, do this thing where they wrap it in their fingers. When I do that, I just can't crochet that way. But sometimes if everybody should try it until they get their own feels and methods. So I would encourage you to check out, like Mikey does it one way, and Bag O' Day does it a different way, and everybody does their crocheting slightly different. This works for me. What I'm doing is I'm holding the thread between my ring finger and my pinky, and then I just pull it off. I don't ever move this hand. Some people do, and I don't, because it's a tiring. And there, I almost messed up. And so you'll know if you've messed up somewhere, because you should have the 2 and you should end with a single here. Or if you do like Shannon, you'll end with a double. So then again, if you can see, there's this stitch laying here. That's the slip stitch. This is my chain 1 that I use, and the stitch we want to go into is right there. And again, you can hold your hook with your other hand and count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, now I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So you can tell that's the top of the first stitch. So we skip basically the slip stitch. This was my chain 1. Then I'm going to go into the first stitch, and I'm going to draw up and through, and then I would chain 1. But before I do that, that's how you do it when you're going around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change color now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into that first stitch, set it down, and I'm going to just cut that away. Then I'm going to make a loop on this one, but leave a tail. And this is probably not the way to change colors for everybody. This works for me. Put the loop on my hook, so it's like I've yarned over. I'm going to pull through just like I would if I'd continued with the light blue. Then I'm going to take these 2 tails and I'm going to do a square knot. So light blue over dark blue, and then light blue over dark blue this way. So I get a square knot tied there. Then I'll bring those tails up. So I'm going to work over those. I know it looks confusing. Then I'll do the chain 1. And then I'm going to just start my pattern again. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Angie. Hi, Dar. And Anne. And let's see. Anybody else? Nope. I think that's everybody. All right. Now, the tails I'm going to work over. I'm going to go 2 in the first one, and then a single, 2. So it's 2 to 2 in here. And I'm going to change my stitch now. I'm going to do double crochets. So that's pull up and go through 2 and 2. loop over, yarn over, go into the hole, draw up a loop, go through 2 stitches, go through 2 stitches. So that's the 2 in the first one. Now I'm going to do that, a single one here. And I would encourage you, if you're making hats, just experiment with doing different stitches. Like I started with half doubles. I did 3 rows of half doubles. Then I'll do 3 rows of double crochets with this darker blue or turquoise, whatever you want to call it. So now when you look at it, you can see there's 2 worked into the same stitch here. So that's 2 and then a single and then a single and then 2, single, single. So the next one needs to have 2 stitches put in it. And again, I'm just catching the tail along the top of this round. So there's 2, and now I'm going to go singles into the next ones. If you have any questions, remember I'll check chat between rows. And for anybody on the replay, welcome, and I hope that this will be useful and helpful if you're planning to make any hats this winter. Sorry, my stomach is growling. All right, and see my tail is all buried in there. All right, so 2, 1, 1, I need to do 2. Neighbors leaving for work. And then 2 singles in the next 2 stitches. And then 2 doubles. And then 2 singles. And by doing this with adding an additional stitch in between, you're actually, when you do 2 stitches in 1 stitch, you're adding a stitch to the round. And what that does is it makes it get bigger and bigger. And we're going to do that until we've got a double and then 6 in between. Or was it 5? I don't remember. Either 5 or 6. You can pretty much tell if it's big enough to cover the top of your head, you're good. And then you'll just start working rounds without making any increases. All right, so this should be my last repeat. So I've got to put 2 here. And then 2 singles. And I will connect with the first one in the set of 2. So again, this is not a stitch here. That's our slip stitch. And then there's the chain 1. So this is the top of the stitch. And by doing this, you don't have to use space holders and your holes are filled in. So I slip stitched, I chained 1. And Angie does the knitting looms. And there's Ann Lar. All right. So is Safia here? Hi, Safia. So again, I'm going to do 2 in this first one. And I'm doing double crochets. So 1, 2. Now I'm going to do a single in the next 3. And now we're going to do 2 in the next one. And then 3. And then 2. And then 3 singles. Whoopsie doodles. Drop the stitch. Oh, I'm almost out of shot. I'm sorry. 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Most every hat pattern that's worked top down starts the same way. And then once you get your increases all done and you make one round, just going straight around, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. Then you can mix up whatever stitches you've learned lately. So we'll do some stitches here. So back to the 2 together. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. Every time I'm on this round, I think of the owl with the Tootsie Pop going, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? 1, a 2, a 3. That's what goes through my mind every time I make a hat. Oh, gosh. And you'll know if you mess up, you messed up, because if you get over here and you don't do 2, 1, 2, 3, then you'll know you've messed up somewhere around, and you'll need to go back and see where you messed up and pull back to there. And 1, 2, 3. And again, you don't go into that. That's the slip stitch. And then the little bar around there, that's the slip stitch there. That's my chain. This is the first stitch right there. So that's where you want to go. And we will slip stitch, chain 1. And you can see how it's getting bigger. So now we do 2 in the first one. 1 and 2. And then we go 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then do 2 in the next one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 in the next one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. And my hats are just made up in my mind as I'm going along. I haven't written any of them down. It's just whatever stitch comes to mind, I do it. Once I get my increases all done, then I just do whatever stitch I want to. And the reason you do the 2 together and then you do so many singles on their own is that way you're not adding all of the increased stitches in the same location. They're spread out around the circumference. And so you have the same even growth on the length of the hat. So this should be my last repeat. So 2 together, and then I should have 4 stitches left to do a single stitch in. 1, single double crochet, a single one. 3 and 4. Okay, so it's getting bigger. So let me see. I am going to sit for a little bit and check chat. Remind me on Thursday to show you a yarn I have that I loathe, and if you have any ideas of what I could do with it. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. There's an emergency alert. No, I haven't heard anything about it. Yeah. See, we don't watch news. We don't have news on. Scott reads a lot of news online. We don't have TV as per se. We have Netflix and we have YouTube. And if we want any news, we go to CNN or the local WIS TV. So yeah, I don't hear it. You don't have a TV either. We have a TV in the other room, but it's to watch Netflix on, and it's not our TV, it's our son's. It's his gaming TV, but he allows us to watch Netflix on it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and change color for the next round, which will be the number 5 round. Let me look at one of my other hats here because I want to make sure yeah, I did 6. Yeah. So we need to do 2 more rounds with increases in it so that there's 6 single stitches in between a double stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and you skip the chain, skip the slip stitch, skip the chain, go into the top of that first stitch. All right, and I'm just going to cut this one and we're going to go to the dark blue, which is going to be hard for you guys to see, but it's what I pulled out. Let's see if I can find my, that's why I like cakes, because you can just reach in and pull out the string. I like to make my own cakes. Some people have issues with it, but I don't. I'm going to tighten that up on my hook and then draw that loop through and through and do a chain 1 to hold it there while I tie this up. Actually, I didn't want to do that. I got to take that chain out of there. So I'm doing the turquoise over the navy. So I'll do the turquoise over the navy this way too, and that creates a square knot. And the reason I don't want to do the chain just yet is I want to catch those tails. So I'm going to insert back in the loop I started with, grab these tails and pull them over. If I can grab the tails. And I want to pull them so they're laying on top of the stitches and then chain 1. So now I'm going to go back to half double crochets, but do the same increases. So I'll do 2 in here. Uh-oh, it didn't do. So a half double crochet again is yarn over, insert your hook where you need to go, draw up a loop. So you have 3 on the hook, then take and draw through all 3. Then do that again. So there's 2, and now we got to do 5. 1. This thread had tossed around at the thrift store, so the twist on it is loose and it's really hard to grab. But I'm trying to use all my thrifted yarn in projects. So I did 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that makes 5. So now I need to do 2 in the next one. 1, 2, and now we do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1, 2. If your tails start feeling like they're working back and you can see them looping, just give the tails a tug while you're trying to bury them. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 2. I need to do 5. 1. 2. 3. I wanted to do this down in my lap so I could sit the whole time and not have my arms raised. But the camera was acting up. All right, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 here. 1 and 2, and that should capture this. Hi, Ashley. Welcome. You're new to me. She's a crochet and knitting channel for anybody else that's a crochet and knitter. When you do the 2 half double crochets, do you do them in the same hole? When I'm doing the 2 together, yes, they go in the same hole because that's your increase. When you do the 2 stitches together in one hole, that gives you an additional stitch around. And the reason you're putting the single stitches in between, again, is to spread that increase out all the way around. If you just started with, say, like 5 with 2 together, all your increases would be right there, and you would end up with a very funny looking shape. You would not end up with a round circle. You would end up with just a big increase here, so it would be like a big old flap getting added here, and then everything else would be drawn in, and it would not work for a hat. So you wouldn't get this spread that's nice and even around before you start doing the downs. The downs. I call it the downs because we're working down the hat. So let me finish this round. We're on our 5s. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can about guarantee that Ashley does, she may hold her thread a whole different way than I do. So she might be another one to go and learn stitches with. You have to learn how your own hands work. Everybody has different muscle abilities, different, maybe they have issues with their bones or whatever. You can, from what I understand, I haven't tried it yet. If you take your crochet hook and you shove it into a tennis ball, so there's a ball here, it may be easier. It's like you're creating your own ergonomical hook. And I've heard people that can't close their hands, if they put a tennis ball on the end of their hooks, they have better results. Ashley, have you heard that? And Ashley's left-handed. So if you're left-handed and you want to go over to her channel and get subscribed, you may be able to learn better from her as she is left-handed. So, always keep your options open. If you can't see what I'm doing well enough, maybe, or if you don't understand what I'm doing, maybe somebody else's instruction would be better for you than me. I always want to encourage you to find the person that you click with to learn anything at all. Like one person may do a technique that you just don't get, but then somebody else gives you different instructions and it just clicks and you go, oh, I get it now. So she doesn't have any tutorials on her channel, she says, but just by watching you, Ashley, they can see your methods of how you manipulate your yarn and such. Even just watching you do something, or, even if it's just small swatches for somebody beginning to learn to crochet, you could do just little 2-inch squares and do tutorials that way, or 4-inch squares, whichever you wanted to do. All right, let me go back here. I got 2, my increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to quit giving instructions. I need to finish this round. Hang on. So 2 together in the same. Maybe me talking will give everybody that's working along a chance to catch up with me. 2, 3, 4, 5. I wish I could get it to the camera to come in a little bit closer, but this is as close as the software I have will let me get. 2, 3. And dark yarn is harder to see. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 together. Did I just do double crochets? I think I did. I did. We're doing half doubles. Come on, stick with the pattern, half double. So I need to do my 2 together. I'm thinking ahead of what I want to do, and I'm messing myself up. Hi, Pam. So there's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then 2 together, and then I should have 5 stitches after the 2 together. If I don't, I know I've messed up somewhere around the way. So there's the 2 together, and there should be 5 stitches left to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I did good. I at least got the right number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again, I'm going to skip the slip stitch, which is right there. And then this is the chain. Let me get up closer. I don't know if you can see it or not. This stitch right here, that's the other color blue, that's where I slip stitched. And then you'll see a little chain stitch right there. And so we want to go in the top of the very first stitch. And I'm just going to slip stitch into that, which is put your hook through there, pull through the top of that and through the loop on your hook, and then I chain 1. All right. I'm going to switch back now for the last increase row and do double crochets. So I'm just going to do double, which is yarn over, put in the hole, draw up a loop, then draw through 2 loops and 2 loops. So now I'm going to do 6 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should have picked some better colors. 1 and 2. Lighter colors are so much easier to show, but I thought these were pretty together. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 2 together. 1, 2, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. Don't ever pull on it to try to get it to come apart. Work it with your fingers, and then there you go. And Ashley says she's currently working on a ridged chevron stitch. Cool. There's the two together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. There's a Carolina wren out there just raising cane. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you know what? Ugh, y'all needed to stop me. We started with double crochets, and I got to right here, and I switched to half doubles. Why didn't y'all stop me and say, stop, you're not doing it right? Hi, Mina. All right, so we're doing double crochets on this row, Becky. So I have 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I had to back up. 6, and then 1, 2. This row is double crochet. Saying that for myself. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two together, and then 6. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 together. 1 and 2, And now we should be ending with 6 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. I'm going to do half double crochets on the next round. So skip your slip stitch, skip the chain, go into the top of the very first stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1. Thank you to Mina. I have to still watch. I can't do the blindfold thing. So we're done with our increases. So now when you work your way around now, you're just doing 1 stitch in each stitch around. We're beginning the actual hat portion of it. And this time I am doing half double crochets. You can mix and match your stitches and make up your own hats as you go along. If you try to do a stitch that doesn't work out because you don't have the number of counts, like some stitches you'll need a count of 3 plus 1 or 4 plus 1, which that's usually on chains, but it works for in the round as well. Anne says she likes the dark blue. My problem with the dark colors is they're very hard for me to see anymore. I am dreading my next eye appointment. My eyes are so messed up right now. See, when I went for my last eye appointment, we couldn't afford the glasses, and I wasn't on the glasses insurance for some reason. So yeah, I didn't get my prescription glasses replaced. So I'm using the old ones. And they'll probably fuss about that, and I will have to find some way to get new glasses this time because can't hardly see with the ones I have right now. Oh. And once you get to where you're not having to do any counting and it's just a matter of going around, that's when the hat becomes easy. Oh, Safia had to go. Bye, Safia. I'm going to switch back to the light blue on the next round. And another reason for me to like these half double crochets is it's a nice full looking stitch. Plus it's easy to hide your tails. And I've never gotten to where I really enjoyed knitting at all. Some people say they had to learn to knit because they don't like the way crochet looks, but I kind of like the homespun look of knitting, not knitting, but crochet myself. I don't know. I just prefer crochet because I can do it. I think on this next round, because I'm going to be doing a stitch where it's going to be hard to hide the tails, I'm just going to let them fall when I do my connection, and I'll sew them in later when I finish the hat. I prefer hiding them as I go along because then I'm done with them and I don't have to go back. But because I'm going from a really, really dark to a really, really light thread, I want to be able to bury the dark thread in the dark and the light in the light. So I'm going to just leave the tails long enough that I can put my yarn needle on it and sew them in. What is that noise, Tippy? Oh. The city is finally picking up the man down the street had a pine tree or something cut, and they actually coming to pick it up. I didn't know they'd pick up big logs like that. Interesting. I gotta work that one so it's laying better. I just didn't know what that noise was. I'm not used to them picking stuff up on Wednesday because Tuesday's our trash day. But I guess I had to pull out the special truck to get those big, they're like 4-foot sections of pine tree, big old round pine tree. Oh, let me remind you guys to check out Bag a Day. She just put up a video on a cool looking pumpkin. If anybody that crochets wants to do some pumpkins for a decoration. So I'm going to go into the top of the first stitch. I'm going to leave a pretty long tail because I want to be able to sew it in. And then I'm going to do the same on this one. And I'll just let them fall to the back. All right, bye. And I'll be on at 1 o'clock today to do the autumn journal covers. We're going to do our autumn journal covers today. I pulled my loop through. All right. The dark over the light that way, and the dark over the light this way, and we have a nice square knot that shouldn't pull out. And I'll sew those in later. And then chain one. Now I'm going to leave the tails to the back, and I'm going to go around with half double crochets again. It's just one in each one around. And I think we'll just do the covers today so that they can sit and dry until next Wednesday. And then we'll start working on pages. And we're only going to do like 6 pages, including the covers. So we'll do 4 internal pages. So they'll be about the same size as our spring and summer journals that we made in the past. I need to do a playlist that's just seasonal journals, and then that way everybody could go and find how we did each of those, because there was multiple videos and I need to put those in a playlist so they're easy to find. And on my channel, you'll find a little of everything because I do a little of everything. I like to pull my yarn, so I've got quite a bit of tail. So we're going to do that today. And I'm making it up as we go along, so y'all will just have to bear with me. I did a short video on some coin envelopes that I did along with Paint Girly Lori on Sunday. She was doing tuck spots for a journal, and I did some little autumn like coin envelopes to add to a page. So later today we'll be doing a seasonal handmade journal. And I just wanted to get my hat of the day made, and so I said, why not just go live and we'll do today's hat of the day together, and I can get it posted on Instagram. I've almost got the 20 that I put to mind to make for Lizzie Brewer's Hats for the Homeless project. So then these will be done, and I'll wash them and lay them to dry somewhere where the cats can't get on them, and then I'll box them up and send them. Of course, I could put them in the dryer on low. I might do that. They might be safer that way, except for the one with the pom-pom. That one, I don't know if it would survive. I'll put it in my little laundry net bag and see if it doesn't make it through the wash and dry, I'll make another hat to replace that one. I just wanted to try to make a pom-pom with that. Hopefully it'll hold together, but we'll see. It's a homemade pom-pom, so I'm not real good at those and getting them, tied tight enough so they don't fall apart in the wash. But it looks really cool. That's the candy apple hat. It looks just like a candy apple. And you can see how it's starting to look like a hat. Oh, nope, not a single crochet, a half double crochet. I'll hold it up so you guys can see what it looks like so far. We'll go in the top of this stitch and chain. So this is the little hat. And this is more of a dark turquoise and it's showing up. And then this is navy. Thanks for the thumbs up. And there's Crystal's video, or her channel. And there's a pumpkin on there that she made, I think, yesterday or the day before. Oh, I had a message from Angela. Angela over at, I can't remember Angela's channel, and I just watched it. But she's making her own cargo pants. She took apart a pair of cargo pants that she liked, and she's making a pattern from them. And it's been very interesting. She put up part 5 just the other day. So I'm not seeing any questions. Okay, so now this row, I'm going to do a half double crochet in the first one. Okay, so half double. Then we're going to skip the stitch, the next stitch there, and we're going to work a long, let me see if I can figure out where it is. In the row below, we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to go down and go around the post of the stitch below. And then we're going to draw up real long loops so it's the same height as what we just did. All right, so you end up with something like that. Then remember, we skipped that one back there. So now we're going to do a half double crochet in the next one. Then you skip the next one down here and you do an elongated stitch, go around the post, and oops, we're going to draw up until it's the same height and then pull that through. Then we're going to we'll skip there and do there. So basically, we're skipping a stitch on the light blue row, and then we're skipping a stitch on the row below when we're doing around the post. So you skip this next stitch, go around the post of the one here. Whoops. Am I getting around the post? There we go. And you have to draw it up to where it's the same height. Oh, that doesn't look right. That's right. Then I'm going to do a half double crochet, but you can see I worked in that one. I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to go into this one here. And then we'll do another elongated double crochet and draw it way up there. And what you end up with, it looks like a crown as you go along. You just got to remember where you're skipping a stitch on the light blue and you're skipping a stitch on the dark blue. Once you get going, it's not too bad. And you got to remember to elongate that stitch, leave the loops real long to get the same height. So you're at the same height of each of those stitches as well. So it's a half double when you're working into the light blue and a long double crochet. I keep getting around the wrong thing. So you get that longer stitch. And then another half double crochet. And just figuring out how to skip those takes a little practice too. Whoops. I would like to also do a little work on the Afghan I'm using, the yarn Janice sent me. So when you're working into the light blue, it's a half double. When you're working into the dark blue, it's a long double crochet. And it looks weird until you understand you're skipping a stitch on both levels. And this is not a written pattern. This is me making it up as I go along. Righty. Nope, I went into the wrong one. As I said, you got to really pay attention or you'll be in the wrong space. I might need to check my phone and make sure that's not my kid or my husband, because I'm bumping a lot. When I get to the end, I will. Whoa. I dropped it. Whoops. I hate when I drop the second set of loops. Let's see. I'm worked into that one, skip that one, do this one. Oh, you're welcome, Janet. When I start doing different stitches, it takes longer to get around because I'm trying to pay attention that I'm putting it in the correct stitch. So if you look here, I worked on that one, work that one, have to skip this one, go into that one. And it looks funny when you're doing it. And then it's easier to see on the dark blue because you can visibly see the front of the stitch. So much easier. And if you don't pull up long loops, it'll pull your hat kind of tight on the top of the head too. All right, now I skip there. I think we might put a window on our cover. So you might need to bring some recycled packaging, you know, the hard plastic. If you bring some of that at 1 o'clock, we'll put a window in our cover too. So after I'm done with this hat on my community tab, I'll put up a list of what you need to pull together for that. And we'll see what we can do. I know Shannon likes baubles, but and I like shells. So I put shells in a lot of my hats, which makes them turn out looking a little bit more feminine. So I'm trying to make a couple that look more masculine. We're almost around. All right. Let's skip this one. And we're back at the beginning. So we're going to just connect to the first stitch. I know it looks like there's unworked stitches here, but no, maybe we do need to work there. No, because we worked in this stitch here. So this should be the skip stitch. And then we would do a stitch in the next one, but we're just going to attach to our first stitch with a slip stitch and a chain one. All right, so now our hat looks like that. All right, next round, just do a round of half double crochets in every single stitch. You just work in the top of the stitches. And most of my hats, or literally all of them, they end from, if you lay them flat and you measure from the top to the edge, it's between 8 and 8.5 inches long, because that's how long I like them on my head. You can go longer if you wanted to add ribbing so it could fold up, which my husband loves a hat that has an additional ribbing on it. So you could do that as well. Tippy's purring at me. It's 8 where you are. It is 9 here. I'm in the center part of South Carolina. Good morning, Janice. Hi, JL. JL's in the house. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And you can see it's starting to form a hat. Yeah, my channel's kind of like my brain. It's like a batch of squirrels running loose, not knowing what they want to do from one day to the next. So you won't know what could pop up. It could be a crocheting, it could be sewing, it could be mixed media art, it could be journal making, gardening, going on adventures with my husband. It's a little of everything over here on my channel. I'm not a one-off. I feel like life is too full to just be a one hit channel. So that's why you find all kinds of stuff. And if I put something up you don't want to watch, you don't have to. You can wait till my squirrels decide to do something else in my head. Thought about doing some organizational videos as well, and I am so sorry. My stomach is so loud. I'm sure you guys can hear it. After this round, it'll be time to change colors again. I'm doing 3 rows of each color and switching at the end of the row. Yesterday's hat of the day was a scrappy bit hat, whatever scraps was left in that particular bag. I just kind of threw them all together yesterday. So we're coming up and around with half double crochets. Sorry, I go quiet every once in a while. I get into the rhythm. I find crochet is so relaxing. Just get in the rhythm of it and go quiet. Sometimes Scott will come in and thinking I've fallen asleep in here. It's like, nope, just crocheting. Last one. Now I'm going to go into the top of the first one again. And we're going to switch to the turquoisey color. So I'm going to cut it there. And I'm going to grab this one, make a slip knot here, and join it. Maybe. There we go. I want to keep my loop from the light blue on the smaller side. And then I'm going to chain one here. And we'll tie these together. Get the right two, Becky. Oh, put your hook back in or you'll pull your loop out. There we go. All right. I'm going to do dark blue over light blue this time. And go that way. And then this way. And I got my square knot tied there, and I'll sew those in later. So let's do a row of half doubles again in this color. Whoops, if I can get it going. This is some of the thread that had been, bounced around at the thrift store some. And it is really, where it's twisted, it's come kind of loose, so it's easily split. I think this is Karen's Simply Soft yarn. And I think the light blue was a Red Heart, and the navy, I think, was a Red Heart or one of those that's kind of like a Red Heart. These are all acrylic yarns. I find acrylic yarn works best for project events, hats for the homeless, hats not hate, all of those, because these can be thrown into a washer and dryer, the acrylic yarns. If you have something with a more natural fiber, they would have to, lay flat to dry and be washed on a delicate or hand washed. And, I just don't think there would be access for the more delicate care on things. So I try to make them My brothers are at Bob Jones University. Yep, we used to drive by Bob Jones all the time when we lived up in Greenville. Scott worked at a place in Greenville for 5 years, and we lived in a little cottage up there that belongs to his sister. And we would drive by Bob Jones and we would go past Bob Jones University to go to the Krispy Kreme donuts because it was over there. Isn't it funny how you attach, I passed Bob Jones University to go to Krispy Kreme. That was the whole goal of going that direction, was to go to Krispy Kreme donuts. Here, I'm like 5 minutes away from Krispy Kreme, which is bad for a diabetic. But the good news is I haven't had the money for that kind of thing. So I'm hoping there's no lizards or birds coming into the den, because I've got the catio door open, which is the door to our, used to be a screened porch, but it's our catio now because the cats can go out there and be safe and be out and get a little sunshine. But Tippy's here with me, and he's not acting like he's feeling 100%. I hope. Now I've got to let that one go because the thread's split and it's all messed up inside the stitch. Hang on. That is so weird. But that's the chance you take with yarn that's been, thrown around a thrift store, and it gets all manhandled. All right. On our next round, we'll do a round of shells. Right now we're doing half double crochets. We need to, I think the plan is later this month is to go to Greenville for my mother-in-law's 96th birthday. I don't know that she knows that that's the plan yet or not, and if she nixes the idea, the whole plan will go out the window, but she doesn't like to travel. I mean, it's gotta hurt at 96. She'll be 96 on the 21st, and the rest of the family just doesn't understand how hard that is on her body at 96 years old to be dragged around, you know. It's good to get her out of the house, but a 2-hour trip in the car is a bit much for somebody, you know, that's reached that great of an age. But I'm only the daughter-in-law, so shh. I don't know anything. It's okay. All right, we're back at the beginning. So I'm going to slip stitch in the top of the next one. All right. I don't know if anybody's crocheting along or taking notes. All right. In this first one, I need to do my chain. I'm going to single crochet. So just go into the stitch, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. We're going to skip the next stitch. And then in the next one, you're going to put 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we're going to skip 1 and single crochet in the next one. And you have the same stitch count because you did a single crochet in the first one, you skipped 1, then you put 3 together. So that takes care of the 3, the 1, 2, 3, the 2 skip stitches, and the one that you did the shell in. So you still have 5 stitches here into the 5 stitches there. You're just skipping 2 of them, but those 2 stitches are now into that center one. I just thought I'd explain that in case anybody was wondering. So, oh, you're missing stitches. So yeah. All right, skip 1 and do 3 double crochets in the next one to make another shell. Skip 1, single crochet, skip 1, 3 doubles. And you do that all the way around. Skip 1, single crochet. Skip 1, 3 doubles. Skip 1 and do a single, skip 1, do 3 together. Whoops, I missed it. Skip 1, do a single. Skip 1, do 3 doubles. Tippy, don't you want to go sleep on the porch a bit? I guess everybody's busy crocheting or having breakfast. This hurts my elbows. This table sits up kind of high. I might have to stand up for a little bit and give my back a break. All the blood rushes to my feet. Phew. Oh well, it's good for us to stand. And then skip one and do your single crochet. Skip one, 3 doubles. Ah, it's split again. This yarn is a trip. The hardest one to use for me, though, is that black yarn. All right, skip and do one. All right, we're a little off because we're going to end up with the 2, because we would skip this one and go in to that to do the shell. But we're going to just skip that one and then go into your beginning one with your slip stitch. Do your slip stitch, chain 1, and now we're going to do the opposite. Okay, we're going to put 3 double crochets in each single crochet, and then you'll single crochet in the center double crochet of each shell. So we'll do 3 here, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll single crochet in the center double crochet, and then we're going to do a shell in the next single crochet, which is 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets, single stitch in the top center double crochet, the top of the shell, 3 double crochets in the next one, 2, oops, 3, single crochet in the middle one of that shell, 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3, and then 3. Make your shells in the single crochets, your single crochets in the center double crochet of the previous row's shell. And I'll look at chat when I finish this round. So if you're stuck and you have any questions, put them in caps so that I see them. Whoops, I think it split again. It did. Oh, this yarn is driving me crazy. Oh, that was my knees. They pop and carry on. It's like having popcorn in your knees. Bang, bang. Sorry, the neighbor's cat was after my birds on the bird feeder. Whoops. I missed the stitch entirely that time. And a single crochet, and now we're back at the beginning. So I'm going to go into the first stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and fasten off by pulling that through. Okay, and then the next one I will just start in the center of this one, and I'm going to switch to the dark blue again. But first I'm going to check and see how tall I'm getting. So if you lay your hat flat, you take a measuring tape and just measure from the top to the edge. See, I'm at 6.5. So I need about 2 more inches. So that's probably going to be, let's see, each row of shells is about 1/2 inch. So 1, 2, 3. It's going to take 3 to 4 more rows of shells to finish this hat out. And I'm just going to, I might just finish the whole thing with the dark navy. So we'll do 3 or 4 rows. We'll see what we get. So I'm going to make a loop. And I'm just going to use that as my pull it throughs here to slip stitch it on. Tighten it down and then just pull it through. And I'm starting this in the center of a shell. So that was my slip stitch, and then I'll chain 1. And then I'm going to do my single crochet in there. And I'm going to leave the tail. I'll sew it in later. And then I'm going to just start that same pattern where you do single crochets in the center stitch of each shell and then shell into the single crochet of the previous row. So that's 3 double crochets to make the shell and into each of your single crochets. And then we'll single crochet in the center stitch of the next shell. Why is it so hard to say shell when you're saying like next shell? Sometimes it comes out all weird. I just like the way shells look. Everybody finds their favorite stitch. I think Shannon likes the what is it called? Where it makes the bubbles pop out. Is it a bubble? I don't remember. but Shannon likes those. She puts those on her hats. And if you guys want more crochet along, Art Junkie Shannon at 3 o'clock on Fridays, she does, I think it's 3 o'clock on Fridays. She does a crochet along too. And I'm usually at Shannon's on Fridays to crochet along with her. She shared how to make a water bottle um, holder a couple weeks back, and I made one of those. And then because I start my hats differently, I made a hat along with her, but I just did my own pattern. You don't have to follow what she's doing if you don't want to, but she would if you do participate in the crochet along with her. She'd love for you to share your pictures on Fridays in her group on Facebook. So we just got to go around about 4 more times. And you just go back and forth between, one row will go one direction, and then the next row you not direction. You'll just be putting the stitches in a different place because you got to move the shells to the single crochets and so on. You'll see. Because see, actually you can see on when I've switched colors here how it goes back and forth. Because we're not working a shell into a shell, we're working a shell into a single crochet, and then a single crochet into the center stitch of the shell. That yard man got sick of his stuff being stolen. He's got him a covered thing that he can lock up. There's Shannon's channel. Thank you, Janet. And Shannon comes on after me on Wednesdays. She comes on at 3. So whatever we do at 1 o'clock, I need to wrap it up before Shannon comes on. I didn't know if you guys might like to do some crochet stuff, in the mornings. Maybe I could look for a pattern to share, and then we could just work on it together. I know Joanne Fabrics has free patterns. Hirschner's has free patterns. Mary Maxim has some free patterns. Lion Brand. Any place like that, you can get free crochet and knit patterns. And I really wanted to make more amigurumi this year. It was on my list of things I wanted to do more of. And every time pictures of my little Grinch comes up, I think, oh, I need to make some more Christmas amigurumis to like live in a basket on the coffee table or something. I don't have any small children in my lives to enjoy that kind of thing, but I still like to make them, Oops, I caught the tail. Hang on. Get your tail out the way. I'll sew you in later. All right, we're back around, so we'll join into that single crochet the same way I do every one. I'm going to slip stitch and then chain 1, and then I'm going to do the shell, so 3 double crochets. 2, 3, and then single crochet in the center of the shell, the center stitch of the shell below. Some hats I'll chain stitch, every time different stitch. When it gets past the doing the increases, my hats are just made up as I go along, but I thought I'd show a shell hat today. They're pretty easy once you get your increases done. And I just like the way they look. And I've done some, oh wait, something's not right there. I didn't get my yarn over on there. Yeah, that's better. And I was thinking of making some hats to sell, later. I need to get a business license. I guess. That sounds like work. I'd rather just make this stuff. 2, 3, and then single crochet in the center of that shell. I know this is thrilling to watch, but I like to watch the hats come alive. And I was going to be sitting here anyway making a hat, so I figured I might as well share it with you guys. And once you get to where you're doing the shells and the single crochets, just going back and forth between where they are, the shells end up. It's pretty easy. You're just doing the same thing around. So, let's see. I've been on almost 2 hours. When I'm sitting here by myself, not talking and explaining things, I can do a hat in about maybe an hour and a half or an hour. It depends if I decide to get all fancy schmancy with it, or if I just do something that's quick to go around. I was planning to do some standalone videos, but this week is flying by. So I've tried to pop on with something fun to do. I'm going to try to do something every day, a little something. If it's not a standalone video or a live, maybe a short. I like to do the shorts. And some shorts, it's like, how on earth did that become so popular? Like me spreading pine straw short, it's got like over 5,000 views. And I'm like, why? All I'm doing is talking about spreading pine straw. Some guy said he wanted to see what it looked like once I got it all spread. I still have a little pile on the front, but I've had some problems with one of my toes, so I haven't been able to get back out there. And if this doesn't get better in the next day or so, I'll probably go see my nurse practitioner and find out, what I need to do. I just haven't wanted to cost us anything. And the insurance we have right now kind of sucks. But I was hoping it would just heal. Go into all right, now to get to the center of the shell, just slip stitch through the first one and then slip stitch into the second stitch of the shell, then do your chain 1. And then we're going to do a single crochet. So you slip stitch in the first 2 stitches, chain 1, then start the pattern again with a single crochet in that center stitch and then a shell in the next single crochet. You didn't know? Well, pine trees grow like crazy down here, except the longleaf pine. The longleaf pine trees is actually on the endangered species list. That's why I would love to start some and get them growing. People don't really like to have them because they do drop their needles. But if you're growing azaleas, they love pine straw because they are full of acid. And azaleas love acid fertilizer. When you go buy fertilizer for azaleas, it's usually called mere acid. And if you just use pine straw, that's free if you have pine trees. I don't have pine trees, but we still get them free because we go around with our truck and just scoop up where people have raked up pine straw to be picked up by the city to go to the dump. Why send it to the dump if you can't just go get it and pick it up? And but you have to be fast because there's a lot of people that harvest the straw like that too. My mother-in-law has pine trees in her backyard. She told us if we needed more, she'd just come get it out of her backyard. Whoops, dropped them. Pick up those 2 loops on the hook and then pull them through. I'll be glad when this yarn is done. Trying to think of what I did on yesterday's hat. I think I did a snail's trail, which is doing single crochets backwards around your hat. And it gives a really cool finish. I'll show you that. A snail's trail. Oh, you can't see it because it's black. It gives a really nice edge to it. Here, I did snail's trail on this one. See how it looks like a coil? I can show you how to do that on this one if you want me to. This is our 3rd round around with the navy. So we should be getting close to the 8.5 inches. I might take a quick measurement on it and see what we get, see how close I am. And I've got a bunch of plants outside. I need to go water those after I finish this, that are in pots that I need to plant out front. I've got daylilies, and I've got some more of the flowering almond, and I've got the hibiscus, and I need to find out if it will survive outside here in the zone I'm in. And my house faces the north, so I have to keep that in mind, so that I plant it somewhere where it's shielded by a tree or another bush or something. Dishes are done. Musical appliances. I think that's so much better than the loud buzzers that we used to have. Brrr. It's like, time to switch laundry, time to pull the dishes out. I'll let them set and cool off some because I do use the dryer on the dishwasher. We'll do a quick check on length, and if we need to, we'll go around again, and then I'll show you how to do a snail trail. Of course, this is the 3rd round with the navy, so I could technically finish this off with the light blue so you guys could see better. I might do that just so you can see what I'm doing. You're not going to be able to see how to do the snail's trail with what I have here. So we'll do at least one more row of shells. That'll give us 4 rows, and that should be, oh, we're there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into the first stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and fasten this off. And I leave a long tail so that it's easier to sew in. I save all those yarns that I clip off anyway. And because I do that chain 1 the slip stitch and then a chain one. See, you don't get that big open space that you do if you just slip stitch and then start working. All right, so I'm going to measure from my tippy top here down to the bottom, and see, I have enough. It's at 8. If I put this on, it's going to hit me just at my ears. And I'm one of those people, if I don't cover my ears on a windy day, I'll get an ear infection. So I always add another 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do a row with the light blue in the same shell and single crochet pattern. And then I can show you how to do the snail's trail to finish off the bottom. So pick a spot over here near where you ended. I'm just going to go ahead into this shell right here. And that way I can, that way I can start with the single crochet. So I'm just going to get that tightened down there, and I'm going to act like this is my slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do single crochet. And then we're going to start doing our pattern again with the shells and the single crochet and the single crochet and the center stitch of the shell of the previous row. And you'll be able to see better how to do the snail's trail this way. There are different ways of joining threads or yarns, I mean. That's another thing that I would suggest looking at a variety of people to learn the different methods, to find one that clicks with you. Here comes the train. He's really moving. Really blowing the horn this morning. Must be late. On my channel, there's a playlist from the crochet along that we did almost 2 years ago, you guys. And it has the links to all the tutorials, whether it's my tutorial or if it's another channel's tutorial. I would suggest going there if you want to learn new stitches. It's a really neat way to increase your knowledge of stitches. Because if you know a stitch, even if you just want to save it for later, you could do that. The Afghan I'm currently working on, that I'm using the yarns that JL sent me. It's called a coffee bean stitch, and I learned it from Allison, and I can't remember Allison's channel, but I believe she's in Scotland, and she's got the most delicious voice to listen to. I just love her tutorials, and I learned that stitch from her. Some people say coffee bean, some people say bean stitch, and it's a real easy stitch. It would look really pretty on a hat because it looks the same on both sides. So if you had a kid that couldn't decipher something, it wouldn't matter, the difference in how things look. They could plop their hat on no matter what and go. I might try that on another hat and see if it'll work. I don't know if the count would be right, but I could try it. If it does, I will show that. Thank you, Janet. You're awesome. I'm going to single crochet in this first one. Uh-oh, I think I'm gifting one of my hairs that time. As I said, I wash all of this because this yarn is thrifted, and I always wash to remove my skin oils and any dirt or cat hair or, anything off it. I bought some allergen detergent for things that I donate to remove allergens because I don't want to make anybody sick. I know some people are highly allergic to cats. Even the dander can, get them going. So I use that allergen detergent, and as soon as it comes out the dryer, it goes straight into packaging. However, I'm going to package it to mail it to protect it from picking up any other dander or anything. And like I said, see how fast these rounds go once you get going on them? It's just amazing to me how quickly a round will go. Now, don't worry about the tails. I'll go in and sew them. Do y'all need to know how to sew in ends? I'm pretty sure most people know how to. The really Mikey made a really good point is when you're sewing in your ends, work them in and out the actual fibers, not just the stitches. If you just work under stitches, when you go to wash it, your tails are all going to work back out. You've got to go into the actual fibers of the yarn to lock that tail in. All right, so I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch, and I'm going to chain one. All right, to do a snail's trail, let me stand up because I need to get closer to the camera. What you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and you're going to go into the stitch back here. So you're working in the stitch behind. Draw this up and then draw through two. So it's like you're single crocheting backwards. So take your hook, go into the previous stitch, draw up a loop, and then go through two. Go back through that stitch, draw up a loop, then draw through two. Back in here. And you're going into just the tops of your stitches, and you get like this rope looking effect. And make sure you go through both of the, when you look at your stitches, you have two threads there that you want to make sure you go under both of them in the tops of your stitches, but just the two. Don't go under the third one that's at the toward the bottom of that stitch. And you just do this all the way around, and they call this a snail's trail. You just have to be careful because if you don't grab this thread with your index finger, it'll fall off when you're trying to pull up a loop in the stitch. I just hold it with my finger, draw a loop like that. Whoops, see? It's real easy to drop it. There we go. I need to get some of those labels that say hand crocheted and to attach. I have some handmade labels that I could put on the hats. Shannon had somebody make her some labels that look really cool. They look like leather. I'm just going into the tops of each of the stitches, whether it's a double crochet or the single crochet. I'm working into the tops of each of those, but we're going backwards instead of forwards. See, that one I missed. I missed one of the top bars on there. You want to go through under both of those. I see there's some chat going. I'll be done here in just a minute and I'll see what you guys are saying. It was like 59 degrees here this morning. It felt great. Little chilly. I don't mind a little chilly. This is slow going, hence the name snail trail, because it's a different muscle memory to work stitches backwards. So don't try to rush. Remember, it's the snail's trail. There's a cat here. Let's move that. Yeah, I really do try to go to the extra effort because I don't want to make somebody sick. I'm trying to help, you know. My poor son, he thought he was being shifted to second shift. So Monday he went to work at second shift time and they said, "No, you're not on second yet." So he had to finish that shift out because he was already there. And then he had to go back to days on Tuesday, and he is just dragging that flip-flop. I never liked, when I was a manager, I never liked to make anybody do that flip-floppy stuff. It's very hard on your system. And swing shifts, they've proven, is horrible for your system. And I know people in my family do that. They work those swing shifts, and it's really hard on the body and the psyche. All right, I'm going to go into this one here. Now we're at the beginning, and I'm just going to go in stitch if I can figure out where it is, which I think is right there. And I'll go ahead and I'll draw up a loop through there if I can figure out where everybody is. All right, and then I'm going to snip it and pull this up. And then I'll sew all that in. All of these here need to be sewn in on the inside, not on the outside, on the inside. So you can see I've got some legs in there, but here's the hat. There we go. And we made it together. And if we take our measuring tape and we measure from the top of the hat to the brim, it's at 8 inches, a little over 8 inches, but that's fine. That's a perfect size. And I'll sew in the ends. So let me see. Safia's back. She's got her green tea. Yeah, I think it would add a little bit of stabilization to the edge as well. This one has it. This one I put the snail's trail on, and the snail's trail is on this black one here. And this black thread is very hard, or yarn is very hard to see, but that's got that on. And then here's one that I just finished with, looks like half double crochets. So if you go back to a stitch that's not the shell stitch, this one's got everything on it. This has got half double doubles. It's got the elongated doubles with half doubles. It's got some shells here. And then I went back to half doubles. So like I said, once you learn some stitches and you get to where you're done, when you're done with your increases, you work one row straight around and then mix it up. You can, anything after the increase rows and one additional row, you can do anything from here down. And it just makes all of the hats look slightly different. This was my scrappy hat. No, this one wasn't. This is one I made. But then this was the scrappy hat from yesterday. So it's got some random pink in there. So save even your little bits and just work them a little ways along, and then it's done. It still looks like a good hat to wear. This one I've got to sew in my ends. I didn't know if anybody needed to know how to do that or not. I can do it real quick. Let me grab my yarn needle. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm going to show you like 2 of them. Ouch. I'll put the yarn needle in my desk drawer so I know where it is all the time. All right, I'm going to turn my hat wrong side out so I get all of the strings I got to do. And I'm going to take the dark blue. Of course, it's going to be hard for you to see, but I usually start at the top of the hat and work my way down. And I just work the thread up to where there's a nice solid area to do. So like I'll go in this stitch, but try to go between the fibers of the thread or the yarn. So just go through some of the fibers. And I just kind of go in and out the fibers, and I'll go a little ways, and then I'll maybe jump back over a stitch and then come back this other way, working in and out the fibers, not the stitches, the actual fibers. Because if you do just the stitches, that will back out over time in washing. If you go into the fibers, they kind of meld together, just like felting. Hey, buddy, what you doing? Howard's strutting through. He's got a mission. All right, I'm going to do the same thing. Go between the fibers, in and out. And go a ways. And then maybe come a different direction, going through the fibers of this other row, back the same direction we came from, like so. And then just snip whatever's left off. When Mikey said that on his channel, I was like, no wonder mine always back out, because I usually just go in and out the stitches. It's the fibers you have to put the tails through, not the stitches. It's through parts of the stitches. And by doing that, it really locks it in place. So you don't like have it in the wash and you pull it out and then all of your tails go boop. I'm back. It made a whole lot of sense to me. So I've done it this way ever since, and I've never had a tail back out yet. All right, I said I wasn't going to do all of them. Do y'all want to see the Afghans progress? I know I've got some new folks stopping in today. I just don't want to be on much longer because I'm planning to be on again at 1 o'clock to do our autumn journal. So I don't want to take up your time all at once. We've already been on for over 2 hours. All right, so that's how you do your tie-in. I've got a few left to do. Anne wants to see it. All right, give me just a sec. I'm going to throw this yarn back in the bag, because if I just set it aside, you know whose will find a way to get it. Besides that, this Afghan is quite the thing at the moment. I need to work on it some more. And I have my crochet along is going along too. I'm going to set this aside. I got to finish it. So JL gifted me a bunch of yarn, and I kind of just put it all together into cakes, mixing the yarns to make my own fibers up. So that's where this is